July now, and
Let's call the November 18th school board meeting to order. Roll call, Mike Ward,
here.
Reed Butler,
Here.
Ben Pendleton.
Here.
Mark Moody,
Here.
I'm Matt Bennett.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, any agenda adjustments? No?
Yeah, it was revised this morning. You have to revise it.
Gotcha. Public comment? No.
Yeah, hi, my name is Meredith Rubinson. I'm a resident and a business owner. My son goes to school here. And I also provide speech and help right now. So I just had a question about classroom sizes and kind of what the criteria is for that. In terms of like when we start splitting classes, because the fifth grade class is getting pretty large. So I'd like to, I don't know how this works with this public comment, if we just state our concerns or.
Yeah, so just kind of state your concerns. We don't have to answer. It's more or less just giving your opinion on things we're talking about. So, yeah,
That's just what I thought I could share that.
But I would add to that, things that are raised, we can bring for discussion and put on agenda for like the next meeting and see. I don't know if we have policy
Both
specific
through our
to,
policies on class sizes, I don't believe no.
I don't think we do either that I remember seeing, so.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was kind of asking, like when they split, if there is a criteria for like amount of kids. If there is anything, and if not,
Sure, but
how we can.
Yeah,
I can bring it back to the policy committee too and.
appreciate that. I don't think we do have anything. Usually, and I guess I'll answer that, we usually look at splitting lower classes. And as they get into the upper grades, grouping them back, if possible. I know we did that with a class.
Right,
I
didn't know if there was certain data that drove that decision.
There isn't, it all depends on school size. So like an average student, I'll say, in Jefferson, I think the average is close to 18. With one being larger than that, and then there's a couple smaller ones that, they do their middle school differently than we do our middle school. Meaning when you get fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth, it's run like a high school. And we don't quite do it that way. So the classes stay larger because they're not split up that way. But I'm not sure where Bristol stands, and South Bristol, I don't think we can actually compare to. Because I think they average 6.
Yeah, I mean, this class is about 20,
23.
and another one moving in,
Yeah.
so it just keeps growing, so. Learning isn't happening in the classroom, so that's my concern. And the academic demand is increasing, so if we're looking at lower grades, I'm wondering what the data is for that and why, because academics are now harder. So accessing that is harder for kids in a bigger classroom, less space, so. That's just my concern and question and something to consider. Yeah, if we could put that on an agenda.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yes.
My daughter is also in the same class. My younger daughter was actually formerly in the fourth grade class this year, and specifically for her needs, I had actually gone to the staff and requested to hold her back this year to keep her in a smaller class just for her specific needs. She was dealing with chronic social anxiety at just the class size, I think was 20. The Rand's class 20, about 20, same kind of this size of the class, it feels like there's a lot of parents I'm hearing in just in passing are experiencing their child isn't getting the attention they need because of the class size. I do know I'm new here, so I don't know. I mean, I grew up at Camden, so I mean, that's a typical class size at Camden. However, I like you said, I don't know how we could run it differently where the teachers are feeling supported and the parents that are maybe feeling like, I mean, maybe it would depend on if like a class had kiddos that had special needs, or if it's, again, the data maybe would be helpful. In determining like that decision of being like, hey, this class is so big that these kids aren't getting the attention they need. I guess we would see that in grades. I mean, that's my understanding.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Looking for motion to approve the minutes from our October 21st meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from October
Yep.
21.
Second.
it.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, looking for a motion to approve the minutes on the budget workshop on November 12th, 2025.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for the budget workshop.
Second,
I'll second.
any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Okay, the next regular meeting for the school board will be December 16th, 2025 at 5:30. The AOS met on November 12th. Bristol and Bristol gave their notification that they are moving forward with pulling out. So now the AOS will just be Noblesboro and Jefferson.
So the state approved it.
The state approved it, yeah. The beginning of that week, if I'm correct, or the beginning of the following.
They got the official, the meetings were 2 days apart,
Right,
so
and the official
they
got
got
through
the
at,
official in between those two meetings.
right. So we did a preliminary budget for the AOS, what it would look like for 2 towns. And working on it, and we were working out some bugs with how we go about divvying certain things, meaning school buses, contracts and stuff, because the technical part is everybody signed on it, on these contracts, so, you know, technically they're still liable, because their name's on it. But we think things may fall together fine.
The lease, I could talk about the lease is, the separation agreement has come through
It has, so the building lease,
as of.
as of June 30th, we are out of that lease.
Sure.
And I think we'll be looking.
That was one of the bigger concerns, because the
It was.
leases with the 4 towns for these, it's central office, what we're talking about was the lease for central office. The concern was that we have a 5-year lease, and if we couldn't get out of the 5-year lease, would the 2 Jefferson Noble have to assume all costs for that facility, or would it?
Or would it be
divided by
divided?
4?
Right.
We already discussed it, if it came to a 2-town AOS, we would look about leaving that facility and how we would get out of it.
Right.
After negotiations with the attorneys and stuff, the landlords came through with a separation agreement.
And, the 2 remaining towns keep all the furniture and stuff. in the
Yeah, so
AOS.
everything, when you leave the AOS, that's, you leave
Right.
with your shirt on your back. So therefore, everything that's in the AOS comes to those 2
With the
towns.
exception of all the documents and materials. that are
Right.
there.
Thank you.
What
So-
about like systems that we put in central office? I know that we put a lot of
Those
money
are-
into it.
We're talking about, those are all the discussions we're having,
Okay.
because
Yeah,
some people will say, well, Great Salt Bay, Matt and I were talking, we've been talking about this frequently. Some people just say, well, Great Salt Bay left, there was no. Well, it was so easy for them, well, it was easy for them because they were in their own facility, we weren't moving central
Right.
office. With the tech, and technology in particular, it's a much bigger move, because we've got infrastructure, and that
Right.
building's gonna have to be relocated, we've got, software and hardware that's gonna have to be relocated. So
and they
it's-
may be split in 2.
and they may be split too,
So-
so there's I don't think
There's a
there's
little bit
one building
everywhere.
that can handle the entire central office staff, and we're looking at reducing the central office by half.
Right.
Cutting the staffing in half there, but even that, I don't think one building can house that amount of people, so we're possibly looking at your special ed department being in one building, your central office and business, superintendent's office and business being in another.
But yeah, there will be a lot of
A lot of moving
redirections
parts.
figure out.
of that, and I'm sure we'll have to put some storage.
We're-
either
we're-
rent a
we're-
storage
we're
or find a place.
We're strategizing right now how to, a transition process, but yes, probably.
So then, of course, the move will be, that's the other hard part that's gonna come up, is the move's gonna be a quick move. Like, all hands on deck, and we gotta move everything
We
within.
get students out of buildings on this day and you've got to be out of
Right, we
central
basically,
office, which
we
gives
got
about
2 weeks, yeah, to move everything out.
We'll move what we can. We
Right.
talked about documents and things like Great Salt Bay still has documents there. They'll have to come get their documents. They don't sell first of all, take their files and things of that nature. The attic is just full of
Are we
those.
charging them rent?
and stuff. Right, we're still in AOL. No, Great Salt Bay.
That's a good one.
You put a button as. Lindsay.
Right?
Did you say that was June 30th or July
30th.
1st?
July first is when we'll be.
Right,
out.
it's the new budget, will be out.
June 30th is the last day.
And the only thing which doesn't pertain to technically our budget, but does, is adult ed, we'll have to find a new home.
Oh,
Not necessarily.
Oh, okay,
Adult
sorry.
ed- Adult ed
They're
is-
negotiating?
They're in a different suite. I think they're considered suite 2 or suite 1, so that would be,
Okay.
that would fall on Great Salt Bay, so.
So that wasn't part of our lease.
That would fall on Lindsay.
Okay, I thought that was,
I mean, we were joint lease.
it was a joint lease, but now they're, okay.
Yeah.
So correct. me
Now
on
that
that.
we do pay into the adult ed.
Right, that's what I
but
mean, so
they'll
we're
be
gonna have to,
negotiating.
facilities, the next meeting of the OS board is scheduled for December 3rd, at 6 P M.
can I ask one more quick?
Central office, yeah.
How are we gonna, knowing that they're pulling out, has there been discussions with Jefferson on what it's gonna look like for the AOS board? Is it gonna be both boards combined?
So
That was my suggestion, but.
that was
it's part
Todd's
of-
suggestion,
part of the local grid.
until we rewrite, and I don't
We can
know,
rewrite that.
we can rewrite,
gonna
it,
have to
not
rewrite it,
voting
yeah.
power, right? So voting power stays the same whether there's 2 people voting or not.
Right.
Because that's
The weight
state
stays
mandate, the weight has to stay.
Yeah.
So we've talked about maybe just combining the boards and having it, the AOS meeting as 2 full boards. Realistically, there's just 1 person voting on each, because it's still a weight, well, it doesn't have to be that way, it's a weighted vote.
Currently,
in the
that
end,
currently
right?
that's. the way
You
it
could
is.
write it so that each person's vote is worth so much weight though, so that
No,
if
you can't, it goes by head count, no, the state is mandated on AOS.
No, I
That it goes
understand.
by population, but you couldn't rewrite it.
You're
for
both,
each
you're both
vote.
saying the same
The
thing.
Oh,
interlocal
I see what you
agreement, we
mean.
can,
I'm
They're both
sorry.
saying the same
Yeah,
thing.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, the weight of your vote will be what it was, but that weight of the vote could be.
Could be
divided out
split by
Oh,
five.
but it would be anyway, you don't even have to split
it
it.
wouldn't be if you only have 2 people voting.
No, but if you had everybody voting, it's automatically split.
You're
Well,
assuming
you-
everybody
No,
votes the same way.
that-
No,
if
I'm
everyone voted the
voting,
same
I'm
way.
assuming everybody doesn't vote the same.
no, say
So
you,
say you vote the opposite as I do, a portion of the student population is gonna go with your vote. See what I mean? By not voting. the same.
correct.
So it would
if-
automatically-
If each of Jefferson's, for example, each person's vote is worth 80 and each of ours is worth 60.
Right,
So you have 3 from Jefferson say yes and 3 from here say yes, 2 say no from each one,
You could,
it could
you
still
could, the
pass.
balance of power.
Right.
no, yeah,
You could still,
but like I said, if we combined the boards that way, it automatically would work that way.
not if you only have 2 people voting.
But that's if you didn't, I said if we combine the boards,
Yeah.
meaning if we rewrite it and it's a board combined.
Right.
Then yes, it automatically goes that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, cause right now, like you're saying, Jefferson, if it's 1-1,
Right.
Jefferson can do
Every
whatever
time.
Jefferson wants. But if it was, you had 10 people and each
No,
person
right.
vote, you could,
And it could,
and they voted the way you voted.
Right.
Right.
It would swing.
which that has been discussion,
Okay.
on how to do that.
I think my recommendation, I would agree with Todd, and I would like to see it broken up so that each person has a weighted vote.
Right, but like I said, if
In that
we all vote, it comes that way automatically, you know,
We're gonna have to get legal counsel on that because
Right.
it still has, the 7 towns are still in the,
Right,
in the
yeah.
local agreement.
I think,
All I did,
no, we pulled out,
well, we went through and struck through them, but we couldn't adjust anything.
That's right.
I mean, Woodson's advice was with Great Salt, I mean, with South Bristol and Bristol doing. what
wait
they were
till
doing.
they're out,
Don't do one and then have to turn around and do another.
Does, just out of curiosity, does that affect any of our like buying power for different things? I know that typically you're
Oh.
buying for a larger group, so we're probably not gonna get as good a.
Oh, you mean for contracted services?
Yeah.
Things like that?
In my world, in contracted services, you can form a co-op.
Okay,
So like, when we bid power, fuel,
mhm,
all that stuff, you can have a co-op. It doesn't have to be just
okay,
all
in
in
one
one.
AOS.
okay,
And that's what I would try to maintain doing, because you do get a lot better.
Those are gonna be
Right,
things we'll have to
better
look at. I mean, we've got software for
Right.
our schools that were in there, it was only for 7 towns paying for it. Now we'll be down to 2. There's a lot of things we're gonna need to look at, bus, Matt mentioned.
Yeah, the buses, everybody needs them,
The
but,
bus agreement, Jefferson has their own fleet,
right,
so the only town in the AOS that would be still contracted with first student would be
us,
Noblesville.
Right.
yeah,
Now, could you do something different down the road with Jefferson? They've got buses that sit over there.
or on our own,
Or
right?
on
I
our
mean,
own.
we've talked.
Yep.
That's up for discussion too, on trying to transfer back to our own
There's a
thing.
lot of things there's a lot of opportunities that could be presented to them, to us now, but there's also a lot of things that we're gonna have to do.
Right.
to make sure.
First year is gonna be
First year's
like
gonna
the
be-
last year, jumping through and
No,
making things
It'd be
work.
nice to have 1 year that's the
1 year
same
that's
as the
same,
previous year.
yeah, well,
Nice.
Stick around long enough.
Where's
That'd
the
make it
money?
easy.
Have to come up with a long range plan for what you want the district.
But that's
to look
what we
like
were
in
hoping
changes
for,
every year.
right? Keep you around long
Yeah,
range.
geez.
Okay, facilities and maintenance, John.
No, things are running along okay. We are gonna be having some visitors in the building. Starting the week of Thanksgiving. The architect will be here the day before Thanksgiving, the day after. And probably several days into the next week. We'll make sure that if he's here when students are here, we'll make sure somebody is with him. December 3rd and 4th, the environmental engineer will be here to start his work.
And that was moved from, it was
It
originally.
was
last Monday,
moved,
Tuesday.
I got an email from him this afternoon, we had to move it to December 3rd and 4th. People will be in the building. I'll make sure that somebody is with him, I can't be here on the afternoon of the 4th, but I'll make sure that somebody is, I'll try to get hold of Jason and have him come in or something, so somebody's with him, cause he will be going in and out of the classroom, so it'll be a little bit disruptive for a couple of days, but it's stuff that we need to get done. Get the meters in and start getting the readings and start seeing where the moisture's coming from. So those are two things that are happening right away. Long range planning is for the project. So we're making sure that we get everything on the list that really needs to be accomplished. Every day, something else pops up that we need to make sure that we look at and get taken care of during the project. And as far as, coverage goes, the custodians are doing great. They haven't really heard anything much about any complaints, so that's a fabulous thing. And other than that, I'm in and out of the building as much as I can be right now. When the project starts and the engineers are here, I'll be here more often. But doing the best I can to be here when I can. That's about all I got.
Appreciate it. I'd skip down somewhere. Principal, sorry,
Skipping over me?
students, yeah, superintendent's report.
That'll be cool.
Okay,
The 18 put together a workshop day on, was it just Monday? And Monday was the day we had a workshop, it was hosted here at Novra, that did a nice job hosting all the teachers from around, it was a district-wide one, it was for just teachers this time. And they had a variety of sessions that they could choose from, and the feedback that I've heard has been pretty positive about that, so thank you, Novra, for hosting that, and the 18 for pulling it together. I told you at the last meeting, I was gonna be going to the MSSA business meeting on October 22nd in Augusta, I did. And then I also went to the fall conference, the MSMA fall conference on the 23rd and 24th in Augusta, so I was up there for 3 days. As Matt said, South Bristol and Bristol did meet on November 4th for South Bristol and November 6th for Bristol to do their vote, and they did vote to go through with the withdrawal process, so that is official now, then they did get their official notification from the Commissioner of Education. Met here on the Monday afternoon with the PGPE committee, which is your certification committee, I mean, your professional growth and development committee for your teachers and administrators. I think I've shared with you before that the administrators are reading Kim Marshall's book, which is the Marshall method, is a different way of doing evaluation and observation from the current Marzano method that we use. Several of the administrators are familiar with it from their previous district. I've only known Marzano, so it's new to me. But we're looking at, are there some advantages of maybe switching to two different observation platform. Administrators can't make that decision. This group is comprised mostly of teachers, and they will be the one that would have to make any decision moving forward about anything. So I gave them the book. We're doing the professional reading with administrators. They now have the book, the members of that committee, one rep from each school, and down to Patsy's on it. So they're gonna read the book as well, and then we just have some conversations around it and see where we wanna go with that. And the other thing, got the opportunity to see the evacuation drill here today at the school as they went up the road. Thank you to the fire department for walking off the road and making it as safe as possible. I couldn't believe how quiet the kids were and organized, and it seemed like it was orderly in and orderly back, so. Nice job.
Good.
So,
Principals report.
All right, thank you. Always do staff shout outs. Mr. Buckwalder. He's our new 7th and 8th grade math science teacher. For his enrichment opportunities for our students, he's looking at organizing a stargazing opportunity to come at night. And then Matt, again, above and beyond, he's done a lot of work on our nature trail, clearing things up. And for 7th and 8th grade science, that's what you want to be. You want to be out in the field. You want to make the learning real. So Mr. Buckwalder, he's new to us this year. He's really just looking for opportunities for our kids. So shout out to him. Mrs. Harriman for her support, and Mrs. Harriman's right here in the library. She invited an author from Maine, like actual Maine books and things like that, Hillary Dow. Hillary visited our students in the library, and some of our older students had the opportunity to learn a new art skill, which was like a quilting type activity. She illustrates the book using this technique and brought those things in. So we do all kinds of writing here at school. It's just nice to have a professional come in and show us, you know, that can be done also. Welcome Rachel Schuster. This is kind of like the last month. Rachel's joined us as like a long-term substitute. And I wanted to say like, welcome to our fantastic NCS staff, because she's been working in this role as a long-term sub. If you recall, you know, I had mentioned a couple of other long-term sub. I wanted to make sure Rachel got the shout out for really hanging with us. And then also, you know, because Rachel's not an official member of our staff yet, she's on the agenda for this evening. So yep, just want to make sure to, you know, recognize staff. There'll be more things to recognize. Our staff does great things every day. In terms of events and general updates, parent-teacher conferences are this week. Some classrooms will also designate Monday. So if you're a parent out there, you know, and your conference comes up on Monday, it's because we had to create another day for our large classrooms. Our winter sports teams, boys and girls basketball and cheering, are off to a great start. Sewing club began this week. And then I listed those basketball coaches: Sarah Vinyl for our basketball, girls basketball, Nate Reed for our boys basketball, Shania Melvin and Kayla O'Donnell are our cheer coaches, and then our sewing club advisor, Ms. Brandy Stewart. We've had 3 fire alarms, and Todd alluded to our evacuation drill that our staff and students have mastered. They did it wonderfully today. Nobleboro Parent Teacher Organization, NPTO, sponsored a very enjoyable glow dance for students in grade 5 through 8. Fun was had by all. I think our kids are going to get into the flow of doing maybe some after school events like this, and it's a big draw to kids, and it's a good opportunity to raise some funds. The next thing that they'd like to do, it's December 5th, that Friday, is we're going to have a movie night here at school for our younger population of students. I did hear from Lincoln Academy, the prospective student night on November 5th was really well attended by our NCS students. So we want to keep looking out for that connection with Lincoln Academy. You know, I think they're really excited about getting Nobleboro students.
Jeff will be coming to your December meeting, Jeff Burrow. From the headmaster, I think he'll be on the agenda to come and give a little presentation and also ask any questions that you might have about. Yeah,
Awesome. Yeah.
I may have a question.
you do.
Right. So Professional Development Day, Todd alluded to this as well. We hosted here at Nobleboro Central School. Thank you to the staff for readying classrooms and making things available. We also had presenters. Some of our staff presented at this one too for the whole district. So it was really great opportunity. Our next Professional Development Day is January 20th. Our staff will be reading the book, or are reading the book. It's called Flooded, a brain-based guide to help children regulate emotions. It's not a big book, but in terms of like, what are the current and cutting edge issues with children and raising children in particular, not just at school, those things, you know, we all understand them, but we're going to have some healthy discussions coming up. And then
there was also, because we've sectioned off the book for staff meetings between now and the end of the year, there's an interest in sharing this book with families. So that's something I've been tasked kind of with, to look for an opportunity to do that between now and, let's say, spring. Community Connections, Lincoln County Sheriff's Office started the Dining with the Deputy program in November and December. They'll send a deputy in, and keep in mind that the whole sole purpose of having a uniformed officer in the building is to make a great connection with that person. It's not about who, you know, this is a police officer or things like that. It's really just a friendly face in the community. And they're really adamant about sending that message. So if it's Deputy Solizano, if it's anyone else that comes in, they really make a great connection. We have a student council this year. Shania Melvin is in our audience. She takes on kids to do student leadership things, and kids get a lot out of that. We created a food drive here at NCS. There's a competition, and the classroom that donates the most food will receive a prize. Harvest lunch is taking place on Friday, November 21st. Welcome one and all. And then Robin gave me some heads up that looks like we may be close to covering the meals for, you know, families and things like that going forward.
Adults.
Yep, for the adults. So it's nice to invite people in at no charge. Facilities and grounds. Mr. Carroll is working with architects and engineers to support a comprehensive building project. We got a couple of dates from him today. And then both exterior gym doors were replaced. And then on the back, it was mentioned in terms of like class size numbers. Obviously, this changes as families come in and come out. But that's our accurate class size numbers on the back there. Thank you.
Just one question.
Questions? Yeah.
So Lincoln Academy night that you had, do we do anything like that with Madonnas?
Not that I'm aware of. Now,
Invite us.
They
the
don't?
Madomic would have to set that up
They would.
themselves. Yep, and the reason why we go is Lincoln Academy.
Does it, right? And I didn't know if we ever.
No, I'm not aware. Lincoln Academy, I think it's based on their tradition
Yeah.
and what they
No,
do.
right.
Yeah, typically, I would think that might happen in the spring, but
Lincoln reaches out to us specifically. And
yeah, there you go.
And with the students that we have to go to Madomic, it always ends up me being a call and it's more of a process that Lincoln reaches out.
Gotcha.
And does that, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
A little more process.
And it's their night for the whole area,
Yeah.
not us.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions?
No questions?
Okay,
Thank you.
finance report, 26 monthly report. That's a good answer. You got some questions? No, I think the only questions we had are the ones John had.
And we are looking, as you and I talked about, we're just making sure the accuracy of our secondary student.
Right, our secondary students is way up, so whether there was move-in, miscount, or something. Yeah. And go from there.
Can I ask you a question on that? And this is a little off topic, I know. But like we get our tuition every month at the meeting for grade school. Is there a way that we can get that each month from Lincoln too, so we know how many are coming or going? The 9th to 12th? You know what I mean? Like we see it here at Noblesboro, but the bigger impact is Lincoln. If we have a kid move in outside of our contingency plan, that's a big issue.
Right.
And we don't necessarily track that monthly.
I don't remember. Do they send bills monthly or quarterly? They don't bill monthly.
It's not much.
So we sign the warrants and it doesn't come monthly. It comes like every 3 months. And yeah, it actually, because it's broke down to even splits in town, right?
I wonder if I
Signing the warrants, that's I do look through
wonder if I reached out to Lincoln if they would be
What?
willing to provide
them.
number of students for Noblesboro on a monthly basis. Or even if they just say no change this month, but then we have a baseline to go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we might be able to ask, and that may be a good question to ask Jeff
Yeah,
in December.
I can try to know before December for that.
Appreciate that, Mike. Anybody have any questions on the budget? Good point, Matt. And so,
The driver is in there for 50,000.
nah, wrong budget, we should be looking at this. This is what I'm talking about.
Okay, fine.
Sorry. Okay, correspondence.
Yep. Nominations.
Yes, I have nomination of Rachel Schuster, and I had mentioned Rachel before. Interviewed Rachel, she's really bright and inspiring educator. I can't say enough good things about this person because I've seen them in action, and the interview committee was resoundingly really confident in this person, so yeah, really great person, you know, who happened to be around and available and chose us, so yeah, yep. Loving it.
We don't have to.
Yeah, you wanna make it official?
You wanna make it approvement right now? Somebody wanna motion for the approval of,
Sure, I'll make the motion for the approval.
anybody want to
Rachel
second that?
Schuster.
I'll second. You get,
Oh,
you got it.
you're gonna fight over it.
Who wants it?
You can take it.
Great.
Thank you.
Any discussion on it? All in favor?
She's not here, is she, Tom?
Nope.
Okay,
No, I don't know if I remember.
you got one,
We didn't add this because you wanted,
oh, right,
so we received this in the mail. I wonder why we were getting Mike Ward mailed to the central office.
uh-oh,
I'll tell you why. Because Mike has received the School Board Service Award from the Maine School Board Association, Public Education Advocates, local school board in recognition of 12 years of dedicated service to education in the state of Maine.
Thank you. I think they're off.
Don't say anything. You want me to white it out?
No,
Oh,
it's
11 in there?
more than that.
No, it's-
The end of my last term was 12.
probably that's why it got brought up.
They're behind, yeah.
Well, meaning there was a skip and.
Yeah.
Breaking
Wow.
service. I
Catch
don't
up,
know, I don't know if
yeah.
it's definitely, I don't know if
Is
it's
it
12, I
continuous?
don't know if it's consecutive years or not, but.
Yeah.
12, you want a little plus, Nick? Thank you. Mike.
Thanks.
Thanks. Old business, so support staff negotiations, we are headed to mediation. That was just brought forth earlier this week. Land acquisition update, so in our packet, there's the write-up. Or what should I say, the deed transfer write-up. I actually already read this. I told Todd that we needed to change one thing, which was the address.
We want an address at a facility we're not gonna be at.
Right, so it should be, I said it should either be the school or the town's address be put on the deed. Either or will work. But one of the other need change, that was the only thing I saw wrong in the deed. So I know Todd sent that back to our attorney. To have that changed. Other than that, I think we're good to go. I know they're coming up in a week or so. So if we are able to get it and it does get changed, it might be good if they're up here to get them signed.
Try, I just,
Yeah,
Thanksgiving just around the corner.
I think
It
they'll
should
be
a
here
quick-
for a
Should be
week.
a quick fix.
Should they?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Should be.
New business.
Do we have anything in mind to recognize them that are
Actually,
donating?
so I don't, other than the tax credit. But maybe when we do all this work, or we do put the parking lot in, a
Yeah.
bench with a rock,
Yeah,
or on the curbing or something, have one milled out,
Yeah.
you know.
I would agree.
It says, we
something.
put their names on it,
Yeah,
donated by.
I think that's a
I
good idea.
think, I kind of thought that originally, but I never, it hasn't gone that far, so
Right,
I didn't wanna put the cart before the horse, I guess.
right,
Wanted to make sure it was all done first.
right.
We
yeah.
should make sure they're okay with that, because sometimes people are funny about
Weird
stuff
about-
like that.
Yeah, and I talked to him about it to see if they wanted that.
Mhm.
Thank you for doing that, Matt.
Yeah. New business. FY 27 budget discussion. Slap. Yeah, probably not adoption, but discussion.
Everybody on Davis was there, so.
Yeah, so the numbers have moved in there based on what we talked about. I'm not sure, I know, Mike, you had to leave early, and I'm not sure. I can't remember at what point we were at discussion wise. Do you remember?
Where we were? We
Yeah,
had just finished, Dominic's report,
Dominic's,
special ed.
okay.
So I made it through. It was CT instruction, I think, is what I missed on
Okay, had we already talked about? Yeah, so we'd already talked about, so our biggest change, Mike, was in transportation. So I asked to have vans, 2 vans put in, so John.
I was there for that. I did.
You were-
hear
okay,
Yeah,
that was
I
there?
did hear that
Okay.
They made it
conversation.
through most of it, then.
Then you must, yeah.
Facilities might have been.
What about
Might
facilities
have been
maintenance?
facilities.
Is that the only thing?
That could have been. I did hear the bus, the van discussion.
So that was the biggest, I think, increase that we had to rewrite. The only other one was one of the teachers' salaries was off based on a misplacement, and it wasn't much. I think it was a couple $100. So,
And your original version, I believe, had the lease. Central office lease in it.
no, it
It
didn't.
did not.
No, it didn't, because we talked that our meeting was after.
That's right. Yeah.
Um,
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And that's so, with the central office stuff, of course, we know it's not all grouped into one. Those discussions need to continue on what we're gonna have the central office or needs. Because one thing I know that has to be put in or figured out would be IT.
Yes. We got it.
So we gotta discuss that at our next meeting. Other than that, one thing I had a question of for the board, and we have talked about this more than once, is the co-curricular stipends. We had talked, I know we had talked to the NPTO. Now I know, because I actually called Robin today and asked her, I know at one point we were getting, what was it, Robin? We were getting money for grant money?
Right, so last year, your co-curricular stipend line was $5,000. This year it got bumped up to 6,600. One big increase to that line this year is we are, well, not a huge, but the CHIF grant that we received paid for a portion of some stipends last year. That is not the case this year. The CHIF grant, we didn't obviously get as much as we had last year. So the things that are paid out of that line are your 8th grade advisor, a chess club monitor, if we have chess club this year right now. I think that's up in the air. 2 sewing club monitors, the art club and outing club. Last year, we paid $2,000 for outing club. Out of that, this year it's increased to $2,500. So you're still, I'm not sure why that line was bumped up to 6,600 this year. I'm thinking Adam must have had planned for stipends to change a little, or I'm not sure. I don't think you're gonna hit that full amount. I can't remember. We ran the numbers this afternoon, and what did we get to? 56? 56. So,
My question and thought, is we had reached out to the NPTO to see what they were available, or if they wanted to help out. I know we haven't heard back from them, they've probably had other things going on. I was made aware that they were asked to cover a portion.
yes, some of the costs for the Waldo Theater, production this spring, and I think they agreed to pay
Yep, so one of the things Robin had spoken about, the CHIP grant, community health grant. Last year we got 16,000. This year we got 10,000. Adam had filled it out. The previous principal back in June came to me, signed off on that. Part of what we used the grant for last year and put that in was our theater production for our 8th graders on down. They pull in the kindergarten for cameos. Pretty big production in the spring, and there wasn't any money in there for that. That was a $2,400 cost, includes, using the Waldo Theater, having some people work with our music teacher to, do the different, instructional things. They would come here, we would travel and use transportation there. There's also, because we would select something, there would also be some rights that we would have to pay on, which is kind of a nominal fee, but it did equal $2,400 last year. And I expect that would be the same in years past. When I talked to Sarah Plummer, who's coordinating this, for our students, and she's our music teacher, she, kind of came in, if we were to be able to pull it off, rent the Waldo Theater and get kids there and be able to perform something, even at the minimum, we could do it at $1,200. So we felt like asking the PTO a number like that, because typically when they do have a fundraiser, it lasts, a long time or the full year. So they were agreeable to the 1,200, because they felt like the program's been like a real tradition and rite of passage for our 8th graders going forward. So it's not fully funded right now at $1,200. We're looking at somebody else from a nearby community to come in and help us out. And they kind of got back to me and said they may have an opportunity to have like a Lincoln County grant to help support that. So we're just looking for ways to piece it together. And I did want to say that it was $1,200 that the NPTO granted for us to do that. So, yeah,
It's good of them.
yeah, it was really good of them, but I think it at least gets us going with the belief that we can pull it off in some way. We have a classroom teacher, who's coordinating that. It's just, we like to use the theater. We like to transport students there so that they can get some real instruction, from professionals, and that. So, hey,
Has anyone looked into the Lincoln Theater in terms of
Great question.
cost?
I will now, yeah.
Last year, she did speak to both places before going to the Waldo, but I'm not.
Okay,
Or 2 years ago. How many years have we done Waldo? One or two?
Yeah, any kind of cost saving with the
Right.
project or, funding or grant opportunities.
it's no further away.
Yes. Yeah, yes.
So when it comes to that stuff, and I'm sure everybody understands, because I've said it before. To me, that should be raised money. It should not be in our budget. It isn't, it's an extracurricular. It's great for the kids. I agree that we should do something, but not at the taxpayer's expense. Because it isn't. I don't even know the right way to put it, but the Boy Scouts and the Cub Scouts don't ask for tax money. And it's the same idea. It's extracurricular, where they do fundraising for themselves to come up with the money. I think there's opportunity for the kids to actually figure out how to fund these things. So I almost think there's missed things.
Could we get a full break? Sorry, go ahead, Bria.
Thanks. I think the play in particular, and I don't want to overstep my, bounds as a, school board member, but as a parent of a kid who was in the play, as a business person and as somebody who used to do a lot of theater, when I went to the play last year, my mind was kind of going, ooh, there's a lot of missed opportunities here. Like usually the plays would always have like a bake sale and charge you to get in. And it's not that I don't want the narrative to be like, oh, we're gonna be charging people to get in, but there wasn't even like a donation jar put out. And so especially hearing what I think is a relatively small number, like 1,200, I think there's opportunity there for the play to probably generate revenue. And my business mind is going, you could easily make more than 1,200. There, I mean, that Waldo Theater was absolutely, you were there, right, Mike? It was absolutely full to the gills, yeah. So I think just by having a donation jar out, which is a very easy thing to do, or a couple of kids standing there looking cute. That would be like, you know, one way that I think of that they could generate, you know, revenue, but also, you know, having a big sale, or if there was a, you know, small fee, like an entire family gets in for $10 or, you know, something like that. This is just me kind of like spitballing now as like a business person. But also I think too, that the opportunity is for the kids to run the play like a business. It's like this opportunity for authentic learning.
Good point.
And I could see how that would apply to other co-curricular activities as well. And I guess that's just me bringing my own experience to these things that, you know, when I was in school and we were doing these things, that's how we did it. It seems like everybody wins.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's a great idea, especially like you said, the part where the kids are learning about the cost of things too and being able to build it, earn it themselves. Do we have a full breakdown of everything that's in that encompassed in that line? Co-curricular?
For the co-curricular stipends?
Yes.
Or,
That's the one we're talking about, right?
Right.
Specifically, and you're thinking, and it's 5,600 this year. Not 66, okay.
like I said, it's not that it's a lot of money. But even the co-curricular stuff, I'm not sure.
But it was sewing club,
So it's your
Outing.
8th grade advisor.
Yep.
So. Moves up Meyer and all his overseeing of them and their bake sales and their, you know, work towards earning their class trip.
Yep.
Chess club. Which is 500, your 8th grade advisor is 600. Sewing club, there's actually two people that do that, that's Brandy Stewart and Emma Gavalis. They are 500 each. Art club is 1,000 for Olivia Richmond. And then the outing club is Reed Anderson, and that's 2,500. And that's everything that's pulled from that line.
that 25, just out of curiosity, that's not like all the stipend for reading, that's transportation. Is that how it worked? I'm not sure how that worked, okay. So
That includes all the trip days, leader, just like we give a stipend to each of the leaders for
Yeah,
their
it's
their
all-
days.
okay,
That includes all the organization plus leading the
Going.
10+ days of trips.
okay.
And part of that was covered through the CHIP grant last year. They did not put that in the CHIP grant this year, however, the other guides that go with you, they are included in the CHIP grant, so they do not come out of that co-curricular stipend line. But I noticed in looking at this year's budget, even though I spoke to central office, they pulled it out as the wrong budget line so far this year. For that one. So that $1,900 is, part of that is not correct, but it's accurate for this year's expense to date. Should only be 1,000.
So the co-curricular field trip transportation, that $7,700 line, that's like
That's all-
transportation for outing club too and everything?
No,
No?
no, that's covered under the CHIP grant.
Okay,
So what would
That
that,
co-curricular transportation is all of our field trips. Any class going to a museum or
Library,
to the library, to farms,
Yep.
to,
Valley Nature Center.
yep. in Valley.
HDMC,
Yeah.
yeah.
so we pay for the transportation for outing club with a grant?
Yes,
Okay.
that is all grant, yeah.
Rental vans.
You said the 1,900 should have been out of the.
Yeah, so 900 of that should be coming out of the CHIF grant.
900 of the 19.
Yep, 1,000 is a partial payment to Reed for what he's done to date.
the co-curricular other purchase?
So
What was that?
co-curricular other purchase, I have this written down because I can't always keep track myself, where's the sticky notes? So. Co-curricular, other professional or professional services, which one?
think the seventh.
The other,
Birch service, yeah. Other birch service.
okay, so that is last year. We paid for Hardy Roots out of that line. Fourth grade swimming. Tennis coming here from the Y. Or maybe they would, no, did they go to, they might have actually gone to the Y.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah,
that.
that you go to the Y for that? No?
No,
Okay.
they would have farms, but.
And a kindergarten field trip. Also out of that's Hurricane Island. However, we heard from Hurricane Island just recently and they think they can cover our entire trip this
Oh,
year.
that's great.
So that's like a saving of like $3,000.
That's
So
awesome.
just to
So
be sure, you mean, so the YMCA bills us.
I
for
wrote
the
YMCA Healthy Living Youth Tennis. So they charged us for
Something,
something last year. I didn't write
What was
down.
the price? I was thinking the only thing we did was the field trips for fitness.
That's all stuff during the school day?
Yeah.
Yep.
Out of that line?
Yep. And then PF comes out of your co-curricular professional services.
so that whole line's for Kiev.
Not the whole line, last year, Luke took his class to Lincoln County Historical Society and did a court case there, which we're not doing this year. And it looks like some cooking classes, we've spent like $200 out of that. But mostly Kiev.
So what's, I mean. You heard my thoughts. What's everybody else's? I just look at a lot of this that you are giving a lot to the kids, which is great. But it's really, in my eyes, kind of the same ideas as Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts. These are extras. That I'm not sure should be in our budget at all. Because it isn't actual, it's not part of the day-to-day school. They're extras that they're doing off school time.
So a lot of the stuff for outing club, forgive me if I'm wrong, I'm just trying to understand. You're doing during the school day, as far as prepping, the kids are
My
making
eighth grade
packing
tech class
lists.
did not happen until after the eighth grade outing clip was
Right.
done.
You're bringing in all the
Because it
gear,
was-
you're doing a gear shakedown, everything's done.
Gear
during
shakedown,
school.
it was menu prep, menu planning, going over maps, going over logistics with them. All the trip prep was done during the class day. And then we left at 6 AM on Friday morning. And so that was their class day, they were gone. They can also, for that Saturday and Sunday, we can go into Power School and we can mark those students present for Saturday and Sunday as school days, because those can count towards their 185 that they need. And if a student is close to that chronic absenteeism threshold, having 2 extra days, they came 187 days instead of 185, it can boost them up over the edge there. So they can actually be marked present for those 2 days of the trip that weren't regular school days. And they can be marked present obviously for the Friday. So yeah, they did a lot during the school day to prep for that trip. And then they were gone during the school day.
Okay, thank you. I mean, I'm definitely not an advocate of getting rid of that. I know I went on it twice when I was in 8th grade with Ken and then chaperoned with him a bunch for 2 of my kids. I think I even went once without my kids, but anyways, I know they learn a ton on that, and like we were talking about the gear shakedown and just the prepping, the planning and going over everything, I think there's a huge value to it. And one school day is counted in that.
But I don't think anybody wants to get.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
think
you're
it's getting
talking,
rid
you're
of.
talking about asking someone else to fund it, right? To try to fund the $6,600.
Or things are done differently that way, right? I guess what I'm getting at is people, Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, they donate their time. Right, because they want to give these kids these things.
So for the clubs, I agree with you along those lines. But as
Meaning-
far as removing the $2,500 for that specifically from that line, so it's not in our budget, I would be opposed to. But, so if there's eighth grade advisor, outing club, sewing club times 2, chess club and art club. I think some of those other things, I mean, we have art during the school day. Sewing, we used to do during the school day. When I was in 4th grade here, Mrs. Oliver did sewing. So,
But even for that line, and I'm not saying getting rid of anything, but I just believe they could fundraise and probably cover this whole thing.
well,
Or ask or
I
ask
think I'm
businesses.
understanding the
in
ask
town.
here, though, is if we're gonna ask NPTO to possibly fund as much as they can of the $6,600 line, or essentially
even think
looking
it's
to
funded.
take it out of
No,
our
yeah, I
budget
don't-
because you don't think the taxpayer should be paying for it.
Agreed. Actually, I don't care how we figure it out. I don't think it's something we ask taxpayers for money. And I said that last year. And if it's there, I'll probably say it again next year. It's not a school thing. It's an extra, right? Even though it helps, and I think it's all learning,
Mhm.
but as Ree said, I think there's huge missed opportunities on kids learning to raise the money themselves. Not even asking the NPTO to do it, right? There's no bake sales. I know we're gonna discuss things eventually with the new stuff Reed has. They could make things and sell it, for sales. They could be at the Apple Fest raising money. There are so many ways they could actually come up with all this money besides budgeting it in our budget.
I think they did utilize the
Did they?
Apple Fest, yeah, they had a
Good.
huge booth set up down at the end.
I didn't.
I know, cause my kids bought like 16 cupcakes.
Yeah.
Eighth
But
grade.
all
The
those
Elton
things, right?
Club, the name club is not really appropriate for what it is. It's a class trip.
So I guess my other question would be then, why do we pay extra on a class trip? Why are we paying a stipend on something is considered a class trip and done during school hours?
It's not during school hours.
Not,
It's overlaps. We leave Friday morning because you can't do a 3-day trip in a 2-day weekend.
okay, and I get that, right? But if it's part of a class, right? If it was somebody's job to be part of that class, it wouldn't be an extra pay. It would be part of their job for that class. Right? Does that make sense? If you're saying it shouldn't be a club, and then it should be. It's actually learning, part of the
It's
class.
a lot of work outside of school.
Well, it's not necessarily a class. It is something that each class gets to participate in. If they choose to.
I just guess all of it to me would be, it's a missed thing on people learning to raise their money to have these things. Yeah,
I would just say that I'd hate to see students lose the opportunity based on what is not a significant, really significant amount of money. Only because the difference between girls club or boys scouts and girl scouts is that those are in the evening, parents will somehow get those students to be there. These programs could have an impact on students' attendance. Kids could come to school just because those programs are offered in the afternoon at school. They may not have another opportunity to do that. So yes, I've heard you say they're educational and they are. But just the nature of the way they're presented to students could have a ripple effect and have a bigger impact than possibly what we see as far as just program stuff. Just food for thought.
And I do wanna, just underline that nobody wants it to go away.
not at all. I just think there's better ways.
Nobody wants any of them to go away.
And it is a minimal amount. Nickels is where you.
Oh, I know, I mean, the budget definitely has to get scrubbed, and unfortunately, that's where we're at, is looking at all the small lines too. My thought personally would be to fund that line for the next year, and then say that we're gonna look, that someone needs to come up with a plan moving forward, to supplement these lines, to be able to make them happen. But rather than just saying, we want these to continue, but we can't fund it this coming year, and then kind of end
Then you
it.
could give them a year to brainstorm
Right.
opportunities to raise funds. They'd have a year to raise them and just see what kind of.
On a
revenue they
On
put
a flip, and I think I'd have to watch the meeting. I think you said that exact same thing last year when I asked the same question.
Don't remember.
Let's fund it this one last year and let's figure out how to come up with the money, right? Because I brought this up last year about getting rid of it.
I'll have to look it up.
And that's
I don't
why
think
we
I
even
did.
talked to the NPTO. That's the whole reasoning we wanted to start talking to them to see if they'd be willing to help out.
And what they asked, which I don't know if was ever provided to them, was the itemized list. Of those things to see what they could cover, so.
Right, and like I said, I believe the kids can come up with most of it on their own.
I think so too. I don't
But
think
then
it's
you're
not
asking
a,
the children to pay the adult, that's, you know.
That's up to the
that's-
adult. If
But-
I'm sorry, it's,
Look at it this way, this person is getting $500 for having a kid and you know, after they've worked all day, maybe it doesn't have to be a teacher, but at any rate, that's who does these clubs is the teachers. They're giving additional time to their day to these children that they love. You're giving them 500 for a year. They are spending over that. And like you said, yes, ask for donations. I totally agree with that. That's something that probably hasn't been done and that should be utilized. But they're buying snacks, they're buying supplies, they're taking care of these children for an extra hour a day. And if you spread that out over the course of the year, what are they getting? They're getting pennies for the extra work that they've done. So you have to look at it both ways. What are the children getting from this? What are they receiving? Yes, we're losing $6,000, but look at the return. Right?
yeah, we agree that nobody would do it
Right.
because of the money.
no, and I don't think anybody's doing it because of the money, I just.
I guess that's my point, though. What little we're giving them, we shouldn't be squabbling over, I guess, for what they're,
But
what
you can
they're
look at it both
investing.
ways, we shouldn't squabble. If you're willing, if you're wanting to do this, right, some people will actually do it just to do it, to help out. It's, you know, it goes the same with anything in a town. You don't have to, you know, always feel that you need a reimbursement, even though it's extra. I mean, and I can name many people in this town,
But
they
they
give
also
a
are
lot of
paying,
extra.
they're paying more out of their pocket to run these. What they're getting is less than what they're putting out in the long run.
Agreed,
as
and
well.
that's what I was saying, a lot of people in town do the same thing on other things, right? To make sure, so it's not, I'm not trying to take anything away from anybody, nor take it from the kids. It's trying to figure out what actually is part of the town's responsibility to fund.
It's they are receiving an education in these clubs. They're not just running around like.
No,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
that's-
never been even
That's
thought.
part of it. You're in a school, you are still getting an education. It's something different on top of your daily education. So I do feel that we as townspeople we're investing in our children. Where the next seamstress could be coming, you know, out of that sewing club. Some actor out of your, you know, you have to look at it.
But nobody's arguing that there's not value.
Oh, I understand
Yeah,
that,
sure.
but I think if you take away this, a lot of people aren't gonna be jumping at the chance to volunteer their time with our kids. So that's,
The issue I have with this is that, and not all kids wanna play sports. There are other kids that who take advantage of these, and I'm not saying that you're suggesting getting rid of them, I understand that. But we never look at, and I'm not suggesting that we do, we never talk about cutting the sports teams. Or cutting any stipends for the coaches or the game officials, and nor should we. But there are other things that kids can value from, other than sports, but it seems to be a complete separate deal, and it shouldn't be, they're all in the same category.
Mhm.
I'm not going down the road that we should cut sports, absolutely not, but there should be something offered, and how it gets paid for, ideally not out of the budget, but, you know, would these still be offered? I'm not sure.
Yep. Thanks, Jen. Anybody else have any thought?
Well, I think the discussion helps us a little bit too, because, you know, I think we look at the Waldo Theater and that program through the drama. I think that's a good example where we can try to find avenues and things like that. But I was also thinking like, the money's coming from the community likely. People might choose to like support a program or something that goes on. You know, I'm all about that. The thing is I just feel like it still comes from the community, like people are still like, that's who's gonna be our big funders. And then the one thing I looked at was when we look at like the PTO as an organization that really supports us, they do other things. $1,200 in their budget, and that's only half of that program that wasn't included in the grant. And it's not a big figure, but that was like, that's a big cost to them. So any kind of like organization like that, they're only gonna be able to fund it so much. And you know, I look at it too, you know, in my background, co-curriculars is what is often referred to as sports and clubs and things like that. It's that well-rounded education. A lot of times, you know, the community comes back and says, you know, how much can you fundraise here? You know, one fundraiser after another. You just, you know, the person down the road there, you know, has already donated to 2 or 3 causes, you know, it just becomes problematic in that sense, but. Like I said, we're not outside of doing that. We're always looking for that well-rounded education and the co-curriculars. But, you know, I think for what the bang for the buck in what we get in these stipends is a real, you know, benefit. So, but again, I'm cautious of like continuing to go to the community, you know, because some things would be left out and other things wouldn't. And we want to hit on every kid's, you know, we want to get an interest point from every kid. So I hate to see like some really benefit and others not, when we're really trying to be well-rounded and attend to all our kids. So, yeah.
On the budget, does anybody else have anything else throughout it? That they wanna
Matt,
go for it?
on any discussion, I wondered if you could address the transportation on it. Doesn't seem right to me, unless you're billed quarterly or something.
Hold on. I'll
Like
look there.
the expense today should be higher, and there's nothing under
Are
income.
you?
Which one are you looking at?
Looking at the one that was just handed out tonight.
There were two.
There were two
budgets-
handed out.
budgets handed
One
out.
was an FY 27, and one is an encumbered budget as of today.
Oh,
That
okay.
just says.
They're talking about the
Get a copy of
preliminary one
that?
right now.
You might not, we're making copies of it.
Probably did, that's probably.
Yeah, so. Yeah, this is the actual one there, so.
Okay, my mistake, thank you.
So on transportation though, yeah, speaking of, it was left in there, sped. Secondary at the moment, but originally I thought when we discussed it,
With the bands,
that was gonna be a removal and use.
for the bands,
Yeah, for the, thank you,
for the bands.
right, for the drive,
Yeah.
because that was added in, but that was never removed. So I'm thinking we need a note to
Check that out.
remove
Yep,
the 41,000 for the secondaries. Sped secondary, no, eight, it's almost at the end, second to last, right? 41,000.
So that was for the person.
That's a.
That's for the driver.
Yeah, and we have a driver in there, we covered for 50, basing it on needing 2 drivers, I think, is that, because we figured, what, 4 hours a day? Is that what you figured,
Yeah,
John?
4 hours, 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon.
Yeah,
Yep.
so that,
Bus drivers, so.
Could be a reduction.
yeah, so it should be a reduction, because we're
Yep.
now. I'm mildly lost at the percentage. So what else changed after we had that? Because if I remember right, somebody please correct me. We were at 0.8,
5.
thank you, on the screen at central office for an increase after that night. We had increased the vans, put them in there. We had increased for extended warranties. The only thing I thought we hadn't increased was for the driver pay, because we were just gonna swap that 41 out. So where are there other increases?
Secondary bill, transportation, is that, well, that's up 4,000.
But I mean, as of the meeting we just had, I don't. This, we never got a printed copy of what we adjusted on the screen, so I don't know. Because the percentages is up.
Was the central office budget already divvied up?
Yes,
Okay.
on the one we had. From last year.
You thought it was what?
No, the overall budget.
Oh, overall,
This overall budget, when we left that night was 0.85.
yeah, it was under one. Did you have your vans in
put in $5,000 into the school legal fees for the bond and the other things. That was an addition.
Thank you. But that was on our screen.
Yeah. Yes, so did it get put in, whatever you guys are looking at now? I haven't looked at that.
The
Then you
five-
had-
The 5,000 for legal?
You had an additional 5,000 for legal, you had 2 vans.
Yeah,
For 120,000, a driver 50, fuel for 3,000, and a service agreement for 9, is what I wrote down.
But I think
Well, no, when we played with the screen,
they made those changes.
they weren't in our original copy, but we made those adjustments on the screen. We moved the increase of legal fees, I think, from 5 to 10. We increased for the fuel, and I wanna say that was 2? Does that sound, or was it more? 25? 3? The driver, we didn't put it in the line,
Would
I
that,
think,
would that make a
We put
difference?
it in.
not of 2%, 41,000 on
Okay, you wrote it
a
on.
$4 million budget, no, that's like point zero,
Okay.
yeah,
The vans are both in there?
yeah.
I think you're, well,
Well, you don't pay for them all in one year.
Okay.
That's.
your school board,
Which finance them. Right? They're miniatures.
Buy one, get one free.
Right, buy 2 tires.
Black Friday sale.
The other thing that I see that went away was the shared
Team.
co-stipend in the facilities line.
The shared co-stipends?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on, facilities.
They went from 380 to 0.
What was that? What was that?
when you jump up 20,000 on your. With the school board side.
Changes, I can't. I'm trying to find it. What are we under, John?
Facilities, last page.
Last page. Facilities and shared
Shared co-stipend.
was 380 to 0.
Yeah.
What would that have been for?
That is for the chemical safety officer.
So that needs to stay?
Yeah.
We need
You
it.
have to have.
Okay. So then, and is that the average rate?
Yeah,
Is that like a contracted?
there's, I don't think there's any type of contract, but that's what all the schools pay.
So 380?
Jefferson paid the same.
Okay.
And that is, actually a science teacher as well.
Usually is.
Safety officer.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm gonna get the.
One of the things you got cited on for the, inspection.
So. Yeah, because the 2% at the end of the budget, the 2.13, it's,
This one,
I mean, I knew it was gonna go up.
Is that, yeah, actually.
That's 20,000.
Oh, sorry.
Maybe this phone goes off.
I think it's
Well,
one was
right,
off.
that wasn't in
That's it.
last weekend.
I think,
He said they had it broken out.
Yeah, but it was less. He didn't change that on the fly when we were there, I don't think, and it was 20,000 less than the one we looked at on Sunday.
What is 118?
She's talking about system administration.
Yeah,
hold on, I'm lost.
So he didn't change those on the board.
no, I don't believe.
Yeah, it's 118.
250,000.
The 118,
Like, where is
2%
system
of
administration?
last year, of last
Second
year's
to
budget.
last page,
2.3 is 118,
and we're looking
6.7.
at
That's what-
assessment of superintendent offices.
I don't know what you were seeing when you said it was below 1, right?
It was 0.85
That was
on the
at
screen.
the end of
At
the
the end of the
meeting, it was
meeting.
point.
On our papers was less than that. It was
That's where
0.0.
I'm looking at.
But we made the changes and
We made a change.
Peter was making the changes.
Highlighted line, second to last page.
Oh, yes, right, right.
Yeah, so
Thank you.
those down.
Oh.
It's possible.
Yeah, I'll find it.
Yeah,
I'll do it.
I mean, it can be compared to our last one we had.
He should have.
The only thing I thought, yeah,
So
was
those
the
would be
AOS
20,000 more.
budget had changed.
Those two
Is that-
lines.
We
yeah,
haven't-
so-
Oh,
None of the AOS would have changed yet, we haven't
Yeah.
met on it, so we kept it on the variable.
With one.
So I guess
we're
the
gonna
best,
put it again.
yeah, so I guess the best thing to do is have
Let me get the answers. to these.
So that,
Peter at the next meeting.
that will check that.
Well, I don't know if you want to. wait.
So what we had on the board last time was.
Well, what, to adopt? We
Put
did
it in the
adopt
next budget board meeting,
our board meeting.
right? So what I'll do is I'll have him go through, make these corrections and get this out to you guys.
Well, and we need to finalize at our next meeting on the ALS one, which will readjust these if
Correct.
needed.
Yeah.
So Matt, Robin was thinking on system administration, that these lines aren't the same as what was on the board last time. So those two highlighted lines for the FY 27 budget, the assessment superintendent office went from 77 to 125, and assessment fiscal services 100 to 119. You said those, the 125 and the 119, those numbers were lower, what were on the board when we were doing the workshop.
Okay. It's your numbers. Oh, sorts. It's the second to last page.
So I don't know if those changed.
Yeah, actually, I think they were lower
They were 114 and 115.
on the last paper.
Yeah, I've got last. I
So about a
You have it,
15,
yeah, I've got it in my folder.
Still not enough to make
it's
it
about $16,000 more,
It's still not.
It's still not enough to make a percent.
but it contributes to the
Yeah.
problem.
We
I
did add a
think a little bit here, a
contingency,
little bit there.
Yeah.
but I think we included that.
Yeah, we were getting closer to a percent increase from the next.
Yeah, we were
transportation
close.
line,
Close to a percent, not
Yeah.
2 point something.
right, but with that added.
I'll find out.
I mean, that 44,000 will drop
That'll
it,
come out, so that went down some.
will drop it a 0.5%.
Yeah.
Cause it's actually it's more than that. Because if 118 is 2.3% off of last year's budget from 41,000, that might get us closer. It's not a full percent, but it's close.
Yeah.
Actually, it is close to a full percent,
Yeah.
or just over.
We'll get it.
So that will,
I'll get it.
40,000 out of 5 million is less than.
well, 118,000 out of 5 million is 2.3%. So half of 118,000, right, is $64,000, which is 1%. I mean, not 64, sorry,
59.
59,000, which is 1%. So 41 is close to 1%.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Well, yeah, we'll get that. I think,
Yeah,
we'll
the
just
original one was 5 million,
right, that's what I mean.
68.
So I think we just
That was the one that was
wait
started.
and move
Yeah,
forward
what's it-
with
Yeah.
this.
I agree.
Everybody else good with
Now
that?
it's 5 million.
Yeah, do we need to have a meeting in the meantime to discuss some of these things, or just wait till the next meeting?
I think wait till the next meeting, because we need to set the AOS budget before we can even finalize this budget. Because like I said, we need to figure out exactly what we need for IT, in that. And what we need for. That was something actually, I'm sorry, were we gonna add that to this meeting?
What's that?
The extra days on the IT,
No.
what
we're
it
gonna
it
talk about
entails on ours.
that. On that one?
Yeah,
Oh,
remember when we had the extra days, so we could just get
You asked about
explained.
that,
I did ask about it.
Yeah.
You mind if we bring it up? Does everybody mind if I bring that up? Yeah, I think. So, Reed,
Yes,
Yeah.
while you're here,
sure.
the extra 15 days that I think, and I think it's 15 days, so don't. Allotted for off-season work. What does it entail? And how much allotted time do you think it will take you for each task?
In my school contract you're talking about.
No. No, in
Because
the
I-
extra, in the extra, so there's the normal yearly school contract, and then in this, I think there's. Can't remember what it's under.
So
I think it was like
I can tell you
9,
what my contract had in it.
okay,
My contract with Noblesboro Public Schools.
Yeah.
Is for 200 days.
okay,
A teacher contract is typically 185.
correct,
So I had 15 extra days at the
That's what you-
daily
okay.
rate. Take 185th,
okay,
right, times 15 days.
yeah, and that's what the extra 15 are for.
And the 15 are for this school.
Right.
Not for.
No,
central
no,
office.
no, we're not discussing central
Okay,
office.
good.
It's what does the extra time entail?
What do I do with those 15 days?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
what needs to be done in those 15 days, I guess, too, right? Not only what you do with them, but what needs to be done to update things in the school.
Yeah.
Was a question I just had.
Sure. So some of that is coming in during vacations and breaks, things like that. Because there are certain projects that can only be done when no one's in the building. Right? If I'm gonna take the network offline, if I'm gonna string cable down the hallway, right? It's a whole lot easier to do that when no one's in the building.
Yeah.
And not only just because no one's in the building, but because I'm not getting asked to go do something else in the middle of it. Right? I don't wanna leave cables hanging from the ceiling while I go help someone with their projector or whatever it might be. So some of that is coming in during vacations and holidays to do projects that can't be done while people are in the building. Some of that is done during the summertime, as far as turning over equipment. Right? Every kid's iPad, all 140 of them, well, iPad or Chromebook, right? Chromebooks in the 6th grade. All of those have to get wiped out clean, and they get pushed and shuffled around. There's a different shuffle every year as to where they go. But in most cases, a student does not keep the same physical device multiple years in a row. My exception to that right now is in the 6th through 8th grade. My goal is to get to the point where I give a student a Chromebook in 6th grade, they use it for 3 years. And then if they have a need for it to carry on to high school, because Lincoln Academy is a BYOD, bring your own device, that they would have the option to take that with them off to Lincoln Academy, and we can say, make sure you are able to do your schoolwork when you get to Lincoln Academy with a Chromebook. So that's my goal, is to be able to give it to them in 6th grade, and then it is theirs, quote unquote, right? They take good care of it, 3 years, it's in great shape, and now they've got a device that's in great shape if they need it going off to Lincoln. So that's the only case where a student keeps a device for multiple years in a row typically. But every device has got to get wiped out, refreshed, all of their accounts set up, incoming accounts for new students, everything gets labeled. That takes time. So there's a sort of shutdown at the end of the year. I take a couple of days after we close in June to put everything to bed. Come back again early in August. I stop guiding and say, sorry, Jeremy, I can't guide anymore in the summer. And I come in here and I'm here 5 days in a week, straight through, and I'm not just here 5 8-hour days. I'm usually here 5 more like 12 to 16-hour days. In here working to get the school year ready. Licenses for all the different products that we use, all the different software programs, services, all of that has to get set up. Let's see, what else? I've got a big long checklist that I go through every summer. It's my summer turnover checklist. But it's staff devices, departing staff, incoming staff, prepping new devices for new employees, prepping new accounts, closing down old accounts, assisting staff who are either retired or moving on with helping them get whatever might be something that they can take with them. Some things they can, some things they can't, right? And helping them with that process as well. So there's a lot of turnover that happens during the summer. Most, right? I would say 12 or so of those 15 days happens during the summer. Some of it can happen physically here in the building. Some of it I can actually do remotely. I can be sitting in a cabin in Greenville with Starlink internet access, and I can set up student accounts, right? And I can do things like prepare all of our purchase orders for July 1, so we can renew all of our software licenses come July 1. And then once those all get processed through the central office, I got to turn around and go back and set up all those accounts, Lexia, IXL, and all of that jazz. So there's a lot that happens there during the summer. Probably 3 days or so of that 15 is time spent during the school year, but not during school.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I will say, do I keep perfectly accurate? I'm clocking in and clocking out 5 minutes, rounding to the 5 minutes or even rounding to the 15 minutes? No. But do I keep a reasonable rough estimate of it? Yes. Do I work 15 days? Nope. I work closer to 20.
So when your goal to move the Chromebooks from 6th to 8th, would they still turn them in at the end of the school year, or would they take them home for the summer?
They would not be taking them home for the summer.
Okay.
Those would be here.
And long-term goal is to be able to.
The long-term goal is, what's that?
Protected here.
Yeah, they're protected, and they're still gonna get a refresh.
Yeah.
Right? I'm still gonna do a what's called a power wash,
It just goes back to them.
and it just goes back to them. I'm gonna power wash it. No, there's no water involved. It's a process on a Chromebook that erases everything. And it also then runs any software updates that need to happen. So go to each one of the 35 devices or so across 6th through 8th grade, 40 devices. And power wash, run all the updates, sign the student back in, and then it's ready to give to them on the first day of school.
Right.
8th graders, if we can get to the point where they can take it with them, I would release it from our organization in June power wash it, and it would be there.
Yep.
Because I have to actually make it so that you can sign into it. They can't sign into their own regular Google account on it. We restrict that.
Yep.
They would not be able to sign into an AOS, to a Lincoln Academy account unless I release it from the organization.
If we were to ever try to do that,
If we were to. get
what
that.
would be the expense?
Yeah, so I'm working on that right now, because I wanna try to get to that sooner rather than later.
Yep.
We bought those devices, last summer, and, so this is, when I say last summer, sorry, summer 24.
Yep.
Right, and we bought those, MLTI bought those, right, those are MLTI devices. And so those are now in their second year. If I wanna get into a cycle, I should actually try to make that available this year at the end of the year. So that I don't have students who are looking at a 6-year-old device, or sorry, so I have students who are looking at a 6 or 7-year-old device by the end of high school. Instead of an 8 or 9-year-old device by the end of high school. So I'm trying to get to there, and MLTI, great thing is, they changed how they give out devices. And I just have to tell them which grade I want them for. And I can choose the largest grade we have every year. Even if that means it's the same group of students every year.
Yeah.
And MLTI says, oh, well, they're just getting new devices. You're really being nice to that particular grade of students as they move up. They're getting new devices every year. Yeah, sure. Right, and then we just have to shuffle them around as needed.
Yeah.
So we're pretty close.
Good.
We're pretty close in the budget that I have. I imagine costs are gonna go up for everything. I'm gonna get quotes from IXL and Lexia and Alex and all the other software platforms and services that we use. Costs are gonna go up. They went up last year and I'm sure they're gonna go up again. So as I look at the budget that's already being presented, right? I realize I'm gonna be stuck right where I am.
Yeah.
And yet costs are gonna go up. And so some things are gonna have to get trimmed. We're not gonna be able to buy certain things that we would normally. We're not gonna be able to have certain software platforms that we would normally. Sorry, teacher of whatever grade, no, we can't buy that software for you this year because every other cost went up and that was the one that had to get cut. Which is unfortunate, but if I look at a budget that's gonna stay where it is, that's unfortunately gonna be the case. You know, maybe I can't get 2 more teacher laptops this year. We gotta hold out and make teachers have older and older devices over time. So I'm sorry, I don't have an exact answer tonight of what that's gonna cost.
Nope.
I also don't know what it's gonna cost because I don't know how many folks are gonna take us up on it. Right? It's an offer if they need it. They might not want the Chromebook for Lincoln Academy. Might not want their Chromebook that they've had for 3 years here.
Right.
It might be a graduation present that they get a laptop to go to Lincoln Academy.
Yeah.
Right? So not everyone's gonna take us up on that offer. But I think it's a great way for us to try to level the playing field. Going into Lincoln Academy so that those who can't afford to buy themselves something. Can have something that they can use to get their schoolwork done.
No, I think it's a good idea if we can
So
swing that.
and I'm trying my best to make it fit within what I've got, because I know that this has already been done.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna be asking for, oh, hey, can I get $10,000 more added to this budget line?
Right.
So that we can buy X number of devices, because 11 of them are going off. This year is actually a small year to be able to offer it. Right, there are only 11 8th graders.
Yeah.
So to offer it to them, this would be a good year to offer. If some of you, if you need to take a device with you, this would be a good year to do that because there aren't that many of them. And so there are less devices that I would have to replace.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that, Reed.
Is that answer without giving you an exact number?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No,
Answer without answer?
no, and honestly, that was just, I knew you probably didn't have it off the top of your head, how much they were gonna be. I'm not saying it's not a great idea to be able to give them to the kids the further that need it, right? And you are right, I'm sure there's a lot of parents that buy a laptop for their graduation gift,
There could be.
or some.
Knowing that Lincoln Academy is a BYOD, they know they're gonna need something. They've been issued one here
Right,
since kindergarten.
right.
And now they're on their own.
Yeah.
That's a big jump.
Quick question, what is MLTI?
Oh, what is MLTI? It's the Maine Learning Through Technology Initiative. It is the program that provides devices to schools, throughout the entire state of Maine. It's Department of Education, and Maine Department of Education funded, wherein, we tell them which grade we want devices for. We quote unquote buy the devices up front, and then we get a reimbursement from the DOE, but all of the vendors set up extended terms so that we don't get billed for it until after we've already gotten our reimbursement. And so we get our reimbursement in August or September, the bill comes due in September or October because of the extended terms. This past year, unfortunately, we did have to foot part of the bill for that. And that is because, between the time that, NLTI set their budgeted amount of what they had to spend for the state, and when all the contracts got finalized with various vendors, tariffs happened. And, Apple raised their prices, and so we ended up paying a whopping $20 per iPad for the, 31 iPads that we got through MLTI this year. So we paid $620 for 31 iPads. Typically, we would have paid nothing, but this year, 30 times what them. So that's the program, they pay for them, and we say thank you very much to the DOE.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Yeah, so also on new business, I was at the last selectmen's meeting, they were throwing around the idea of moving the annual town meeting, into April. And I had mentioned that the weekend before or the weekend after school vacation probably may not be the best idea, if they're looking to get the most people at their
Right.
meeting. And I told them when the meeting, when it was, and I just was gathering thought on that, if, I know a lot of people go on vacation, anybody, have any thought on that? I was gonna go to the next selectmen's meeting and just, if it was thought about, recommend that it either be like April 11th, which is the weekend before the week of vacation. Which I would think the majority of people around would be, and I do know for them to come up with a real, mill rate, the further they push it out, the shorter of a window they get. Sort of push it out the 1st of May, it was explained to me how that does give them a short window, even though the bills don't go out till end of June.
I think that's a good idea. I agree with the weekend immediately before and after, probably not getting the turnout you might. Because people are traveling, so.
So, I mean, does like a weekend of April 11th, does that, if I just go to selectmen?
My thoughts are, I kind of heard through the grapevine why they want to change it. I prefer they just keep it when it is, in March, but, it's not like a hill I want to, die on or anything. I feel like, yeah, definitely not the either end of April vacation. So for me personally, April 11th isn't the end of the world.
Could I just speak to what some of our discussion was?
Yes.
The thought was, after last year, an unusual year, everything ran late. Having trouble getting the audit carryover. I spoke with Todd earlier, we should know what the state subsidy is in February. So I'm a traditionalist. I want, if the change is made, I want to kind of lock down to a date, always gonna be the same. I don't want to jump around every year. Traditionally, the 3rd Saturday of March. That's always worked for me, but if we do move it, what works best for the school and the board, and my thought is, how do we get maximum participation at town meeting, most people? And if we move it one way or the other, we don't know the impact till we actually see it, but, looking for a recommendation. I'm not saying that we'll bring that to the board and it won't change anything, but it's important that we listen to what you guys think is best.
I personally think if you're gonna move it, best bang for buck would be like April 11th.
Yeah.
If it was being moved. I know we're gonna be more prepared this year than previous, and of course audits. we're still a couple years out, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. So I don't, I don't think the audit is even at this point, a discussion, there's no way to even say that would be close to done, because we're that far behind.
I guess the question is, why do we need to move it? And a lot of traditionalists will want to say the same. So if we're gonna do this, we'll probably need an answer to that question.
I agree.
Does it impact the school? Is it better for you to move it to a later date?
And I wouldn't even say impact the school, I would say impact the townspeople. Right, because a majority, even grandparents will go on vacation with their grandkids during a school vacation. So I think anywhere around a vacation is a horrible time to do a town meeting, unless you're looking for not many people to show up. So to move it at all, if it had to be moved, I'd say April 11th, but I'm not sure why we move it at all.
Yeah, I don't see much difference between having it that third Saturday in March and April 11th. Except the difference that I see is that people know it's always that third Saturday in March.
Yeah. And like I said, all the information we'll have by February that we can have.
There's one thing that prompts and justifies the move is that we have to finalize what everyone's proposing for town meeting budgets. Then we have to print the town reports and get them out before town meeting. So by having it third Saturday of March, sometimes cuts that close. So it gives the town office and everyone a little more time to say, well, this is a more accurate data of what potentially we'll see.
Well, like I said, I would be, if we are moving it all, April 11th. Makes sense. If not, keep it the same. Appreciate that. Thank you for your input, Richard. Next, I guess we're back to public comments.
I get a couple questions. In the Lincoln County News, they said those two firms were going to go to the undesignated fund. I'm not sure what that is, or maybe they didn't quote that correctly. I'm just wondering. Well, the architect and other one, what account do they get? What?
They coming out of the facilities budget. One of the lines is the facilities, building maintenance services, and the other one is capital improvement.
Okay,
One out of one and one out of the other.
okay. And at the AOS meeting, I was told to ask this question at the board meeting. Is it true that prior to this pending year, we've never gotten any main care reimbursement, but that it's on the agenda for this next upcoming year?
Appreciate that question.
I know,
Yeah, we're looking into actually filing for it.
then
Yeah.
say that's good news.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I understood that.
Yeah, it's a lot of work
An awful lot of
filing for
work,
it.
but it's,
Yeah.
it's good to get money.
Recoups the benefits once it's filed, right?
And then. This is somewhat of a hypothetical question. So there's a separate town meeting to vote on the AOS budget.
Actually, whoa, stop you. It's not a town meeting. It's any town that's part of the AOS.
Oh, okay.
It's not an individual town meeting.
Jefferson Road.
So this year will be Jefferson and Noblesboro, whereas years past was Jefferson, Noblesboro, South Bristol, and then years past before that was 7 towns that could come to that meeting.
So one town could approve it and one town could say no, correct?
Depending
Depending on who
on,
shows
it's
up.
everybody shows up to the same meeting,
One vote, it's a
and
collective.
it's a collected vote.
Oh,
So
not weighted.
last year, it actually didn't pass.
Because it's Bristol.
Because of Bristol and South Bristol. And then it did pass the second time with an increase again, which brought it right back to where it was. Collectively, right? I mean, because the same residents didn't come out both times, right? So it changes the vote. So it's a hand raised vote. At a designated area, which will be right here, as it was last year, in the gym. In December, did we set a date? Did we set a tentative date, which we had to talk to Michelle, right, to make sure there were no.
Oh, we were
games
trying to.
Anything
figure out-
going on that Saturday?
We were looking
or
at,
that
we were
Friday
looking
night?
at 3 days. We looked at Monday the
Friday.
15th, Wednesday,
Sorry.
no.
Sorry, not Friday.
Monday the 15th, Wednesday the 17th, or Thursday the 18th, for the 3
Got
dates we were looking at. I've reached out to both, Noblesboro and Jefferson to see what, if there's games and if they can be rescheduled. And Noblesboro, they can open one of those nights up so we can have the gym.
Okay,
So that's.
right,
they're doing that.
Mike,
yes.
Was there, which date were you picking? Just because we have 3 games that week and
I think Tom said one game though, you only have the girls playing.
well, yes, Monday, we don't have a game here because our kids are playing at Jefferson because they moved there, or Tuesday, sorry, they moved their date, so Monday's open.
That's Monday, yeah, that's gonna be the
There's no
day.
game or
Yep, and Jefferson did that.
What's the
Yeah.
date?
Monday the 15th, I guess.
Can we,
Yeah. but I-
tentatively say,
Yeah.
Yep, you can keep the other game. Yep.
so Monday, the 15th, December 15th would tentatively be the AOS vote for the budget approval for the AOS.
Okay, but to go a little further, so in the school budget, there's a line for what goes for Noblesboro's contribution.
Right, and we had to have a placeholder to start talking about our budget, so that's just a placeholder, it's not a finalized number.
But that never gets voted on at the town meeting, or does it?
No, because.
Because it's already-
Yeah, actually, yes, it does get voted in at the town meeting, because it's in a certain cost center, and each cost center is voted on at the town. So if a certain cost center is reduced, you have to figure out how to budget that cost center with a reduced from the town, right? So
Okay.
technically, it can be reduced. But once we've committed to pay the AOS, we've got to figure out how to pay the AOS, whether you take the budget out or not, right? So it's one of those.
Yeah, I just,
And if you do,
I was
um,
just curious how that
yeah.
all worked. And then is there a separate capital reserve account,
a separate,
or is it just under capital and improvements?
You don't have a reserve account.
No, I have a reserve account.
well, where did we put the 33,000? There's 33 grand. That we created from last year. But, so that didn't go to the town, so what happened is, we use 30% of the carry forward. That doesn't go to town vote because it's carry forward, right?
So it's approved.
So, what's that?
It was already approved.
It was approved, and the board wasn't asking the town to pay any money. Right, because the money had already been paid. So by using carry forward in that, it's not ever gonna be on a warrant item. Because it's already budgeted money. So instead of using carry forward, you wouldn't ask the town again to approve to spend that money.
Okay,
But we do have, that is on a separate line, but it wouldn't be in our school budget. Because it's not a budgetable line item, right? If that makes at all
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
And it's actually in that line, it has to be voted on, I think we made it. To ever spend a nickel out of that. And I'm not, did we vote that the town would also vote to expend? Or that we had to vote to expend any money? It couldn't, okay, so we had to vote to expend any money, but we would. That line item we wanna grow for the next 20 years. Don't wanna use it towards any of the improvements we're gonna be doing. It needs to grow for the next. Process in 20 years. And hopefully by then we have figured out how to put a couple million in there. Because that's gonna be nickels in 20 years, right?
What time do you want that?
What time? What time do we usually have it? Does anybody know what time we have?
I think.
Is it 6?
I would think.
6 o'clock?
It's my foot.
So tentatively December
Select Board
15th
Has a meeting from 5 to 6, but
of that night?
Yeah.
Ooh,
I'll go 6:30.
yeah, you'll have to make sure you don't run over. Oh, the select,
The select board,
Oh,
not school board, not school, board. Select board.
yeah, we probably ought to give them enough time to get down here. So
6:30.
probably
We
at
should do
6:30.
6:30.
Okay,
I think that'll work out well for a lot of reasons anyway.
So that's a tentative time.
yep, 15th at 6:30. Thank you. Moon games around.
Do you need a snow date for that, or?
Stop it.
It's Thursday would be best day.
There's no snow days.
Thursday be the best one.
Yeah.
Whatever. No, that,
Actual.
Yeah, we can write up.
It goes all as one.
We can keep Thursday?
Okay. So we're on to policies and I would like to start the policies out by, I'm recommending that we move the policy committee meeting, to an hour before the school board meeting. So we just moved the facilities meeting to have one every third meeting. So that would give the policy committee 2 meetings to have a meeting an hour beforehand. And I also would like to put in alternates. Just in case something comes up, something arises, somebody can't make it. That way we don't have to ever cancel, because we don't cancel any other meetings, just we keep things moving. What is everybody's thought on that?
I think that sounds good. The only reason we didn't do an hour before was because Todd and Tom were in facilities, so.
Right.
I think
And
that works.
I think if
You
we,
can have multiple
right,
subcommittee meetings. We don't have to be, I mean, I've had 4 going at once and I've bounced around depending on what the topic was, so.
Yeah.
There's nothing that says you can't have multiple.
Right.
yeah, and I just think putting it at a strong arm time, that way if people wanna come listen, right, it's already set and it's the same every time.
Sounds good.
So I would also like to volunteers for alternates.
I'll volunteer.
I'll volunteer.
Volunteers. I guess if somebody can't make it, if they could just reach out to both of them, and then those 2 can hash it over on who,
We can fight over it.
right, chair, yeah, sits in the chair. Okay, on to policies. Also, the policy committee, Jefferson is meeting December 9th. I would recommend that we have the policy committee or alternates go. Because I know they found out more legal things through, from a different, firm. That there are things that can and cannot be removed. So I think that would be a good time to go listen.
Can and cannot be removed related to Title IX. is
Correct,
specific.
correct.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Was this another firm that specializes in like school policy and?
School policies, but may look at things the opposite way.
Yeah.
I guess that's a good way to put it. Thank you.
I would say that's.
I just think it's a good idea if we have 2 people at that, just to listen, because
Yep.
I did
They-
read.
she'd offered to come.
We have a game
but
that
it just made
Right,
sense.
the 9th. You don't have it memorized yet?
That's all I got.
Oh,
What day is it?
The 9th.
The 9th,
You wanna know what day of the week?
it's a Tuesday.
A Tuesday.
No, you do not. That's your day off.
No game?
No game that day?
You got 2-8 and 2-10.
That's perfect then.
5 o'clock,
10?
5 o'clock, they do it,
They do it at 5.
because they made it start at 6.
Would you
Okay.
both be able to make it?
I should
5
be able
PM,
to.
December 9th, Tuesday?
See
Yes.
you
Yeah.
guys.
Where do they hold their meetings?
In the computer lab.
Which is,
First floor, you take a right, it's like 4 doors down, 3 doors.
4 doors down.
Man.
okay,
3 doors down.
Pretty good band to
There.
good.
Oh, no.
Okay, so everybody's good with that? So I would say the next policy committee meeting will be an hour following this next board meeting, before, right, sorry.
This is very next week.
Oh, the following Tuesday
Yeah.
would be the next policy meeting at 4:30. Okay, so policies, second read.
They said you can take all 3 of them if you want.
So, yep, policy second read, recruiting and hiring of administrative staff. Recruiting and hiring of administrative staff procedure and expense authorization and reimbursement.
Did anybody have? This is second read approval.
Yep.
Yep.
Did anybody have anything on those that they thought needed to be reworked? Done. Around in this pack.
I'm not seeing expense authorization and reimbursement in this packet, right? Not in the packet.
It's not in the packet.
The other 2 are.
So, yeah, it's on.
We've got an original.
No, don't want that.
I can say I don't, yeah,
Which one is it?
Should it say?
reimbursement, the last one. You don't have it either, do you?
I did. My, between the people. Okay, the dump also for the reuse.
You fold it down.
So you look, that's a different one.
Oh, it is, okay.
GCFD is what we looked at for the first one.
I can send it to Tony and run it up.
Yeah. So that is GCFB.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
So which one is the one you need?
We need,
Which one?
it's G. It's
Dental authorization.
That's it, wasn't it?
EJC.
KC,
Yeah.
2 seconds, I'll send it to Tony.
You got it?
KC, it said.
DKC.
So I guess while we're waiting, does anybody have anything to change on the first couple?
Back up.
Hold on, I'm sending it to you right now.
Yeah. I did not
We did not want.
have anything to change
Oh,
on the two.
Can I speak? Can I have a question? Can I ask it? I didn't get to speak during the public, sorry, you know, too, but. Can I ask a question?
sure, while we're waiting, why not?
So I don't mean to circle back to this, but I'm curious if like 5 kids more move into this classroom. I just feel like,
What if 5 kids move out?
true.
So, it's, yeah, just to answer that, we,
We're not gonna-
you can't deal, if we're gonna do that, we've gotta double down on all the classes. What if 15 kids move into 4th grade? What if 7 kids move into 3rd grade?
So the social anxiety she spoke to, as that escalates, that will result in referrals to special. ed.
Possibly, yes.
So we wanna try to increase those, or that's more funding.
Not all. At this,
My child has more anxiety. She still does. We're not the only parents. Kids that typically don't present with anxiety have anxiety just because of the setting, so. I mean, I feel like it has to be addressed, and I just don't know where else to bring it.
and appreciate the comment. Like I said, we haven't finalized anything. And without looking into things deeper, we honestly just rashly can't say, okay, yeah, no, let's add a teacher.
Saying, will you look into that? That's what.
Yeah. And I guess another further point that I guess I would make is when you get to high school, classes actually get larger.
I know, but I'm in elementary school.
No, I get that. It's all preparing, right? Because some classes, and I've actually had a great discussion, with other areas, right? So we do, when I call it upper middle, right? When we get to that, we do it differently than other schools do it. Whereas other schools will start doing it based on a high school platform. We don't do it that way. I know we had started looking into doing it that way, where you have a specialized science, math, reading, all that, and the kids rotate throughout. And even in that rotation, some get split up because there's free, thank you, to split them up without actually splitting up a class, if that makes sense. Same as you do it in high school. Other schools have been doing that for years. They're the ones with the bigger classes. Bristol has done that since they had a high school started back in the 40s. And they continued it in middle, right? Jefferson does that. It's considered, I know we had talked about seeing if we could make it work. So yeah, but I appreciate the concern, and like I said, we haven't finalized any budget.
Yeah, that's why I'm speaking.
You know, and that's for further discussion, with the guidance of, I guess, everybody on what is thought to be needed. Right? This actually is not public comment time.
Public comment never closed.
I did move on. I did move on, but okay, spit it quick.
I was gonna say, is it possible to retrieve like relevant data that supports the decision of like, it's like he and I were just saying, is the size of a class doesn't necessarily determine the need, it's the need of the class. I mean, you could have 20 kids that all have special needs versus a class of 20 that no one needs any extra help and support.
So the special needs would come from our Dominic, which is our guy that deals with that, right? So it would be based off of what he would decide.
Absolutely.
Dominic is our special ed director, right? If he felt that was needed, he would bring it to our attention. So that's actually already established the way we would do that.
It's not all special ed kids. These are typically developing.
So I gotta shut this down. This is not a discussion time on that, right? This is, and even in public comment, we've been kind of answering questions. We don't have to answer anything. We
I
can,
appreciate it.
and we can just say thank you for your comment. We have been answering questions a lot lately. I am shutting down public comment this time. Back to the policies. Does everybody have one in front of them?
Should have.
On the last?
Yeah.
So that, does anybody have anything?
Looks good to me.
Everybody else?
So I think we would vote and then go to discussion anyways, wouldn't we?
Sorry.
Which is all right. I'd make a motion to accept the second read of GCFB, GCFBR and DKC. Second it.
All in favor? Okay, open discussion.
Well, actually, yeah. Okay, just put it like this. Let me see it.
Yeah,
It's in time.
yeah. Anybody have any discussion on these? No?
No.
We all good with the way they're written? So do we have to vote them through? So do we want to approve
Nominated to
them?
approve the second read, it'll become official once, it'll be adopted once you vote on it.
So do we need to vote on it again?
Yeah.
Somebody want a motion?
I'll make the motion for GCFB, GCFBR and DKC to adopt these as of today. Second it.
Any last discussion on that? All in favor? All opposed? Okay. Or. Future board topics.
You want to go over just make note that we have.
Yeah,
first reading
sorry,
here?
so Mike, we did get a first read on. Have we labeled the numbers on them?
So they don't have classifications to them yet, that will be added, so there's 3 policies. What we did was we looked at other schools in Maine and what they have for policies surrounding animals in school. And most schools have 3 policies, one is related to animals in school, just overarching. Then there's one specific to service animals in school and another specific to therapy dogs and other therapy animals in school. So when we went through this, we tried to, knowing that we have a unique situation here, we tried to make the verbiage so that we could still have that type of situation based on what we're looking at, but it takes liability away from us in the fact that the policy states that if someone is bitten, if something happens, it's the owner's responsibility. It's not the school's responsibility. We don't own the animal. We don't own the service dog, the therapy dog. But we currently have nothing in place for these. One thing I did think about after we went over these was I need to differentiate in one of them. Or maybe even all of them. So I will be making, I think we're gonna make one modification to specify in school and out of school. So school grounds, after school hours or whatever, we can't, so we can't kind of make a blanket policy saying, school property. So I think they need to be separate for what's in school during school day. versus a parent bringing their dog to a soccer game.
So these are sample, if I can ask, these are sample policies that you gathered. The policy committee hasn't had a chance to sit down and,
We've looked them
We
over.
looked them
Yeah,
over.
we did look
but
them over.
so have you crafted, are these the first reads as presented that you would want them to be?
So
I
at
guess
first
I'm-
read,
Are we
we
truly
did
at a
go-
first read?
right, we did go over this, right?
We
First
did go
read.
over it. We're,
So we don't change anything till second read
Right.
and discuss, if we want to discuss it.
right,
So technically you wouldn't change anything.
Right,
Until
no,
we
there's no
actually
vote.
look them over and bring
Yeah.
it back to discussion.
Yeah.
For second read.
So we're not
That's-
discussing anything about it now.
Right, with this is
Right.
just first read. He's
so, yeah,
presenting
so I'm
it,
just
yeah.
presenting, just telling you what they are and what they're
And then
for.
at their next meeting, which is before your next board meeting,
Yeah.
they will
But-
make any additional.
But they wouldn't make any changes to it because we have to bring it to second read where we make all
Right.
changes. First read is just first read where it's given to us, whereas second read is where we would vote to make any changes
And we bring the changes
to the board, to this board here, right here,
during a board.
during a
meeting.
board meeting, because that's where,
So we'd vote and then, then at the point where we're at
No.
discussion,
because then it stays at second read.
I guess that's what I'm unclear about. When are we supposed to, like, do we do it during an email in between meetings? Like, when do
You
we?
should have had, you did have them advance, first read should have come to this, they should have been given feedback, if there was any.
not on a
Then you would
first
take
read.
it, Yeah, if you're not, then you're bringing it to a third read for a vote.
Correct.
If you say
And
it-
it- No, you
Well,
still
it's not a
vote,
third
you
read,
still
it's
vote on the
finalized.
second. You still vote at the
Like we
second
just did on
read,
that
so when
one.
you go to finalize it, you'd have, I'd make a motion, someone else
How are you
would
gonna make
second,
changes?
then at
between-
discussion.
How are you gonna make changes between now and?
Well, he
then?
wasn't-
I won't, I'm saying
Right.
that's something that I think we should add to it.
No,
once
we
get
did
to
that on the
point of
last
second
read,
read.
right? It was second read. We made the changes, right? On expenses, recruiting and hiring. And then it was brought back to us for second read where Mike just motioned for second read and then we motioned to adopt.
I'll double check on that.
You want to double check on that to make sure?
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, because with these two, us, it's just first read to go over them and get our thoughts. And I think that's the way it's always gone, that our first reads is brought to us at the board meeting.
Yep, the first reads usually come to the board meeting and then
And then
We
from
come
there,
back.
the second read is when
the
we,
second read is when we vote, then have
Vote,
discussion
yeah.
and then you can vote against it.
or
and say we want
changes,
those
or
changes
leave it,
made.
or leave it the
Or
way
you
it
can-
is,
right.
adopt it the way it is and move
Yeah.
forward quicker.
Okay.
I think.
As long as it's-
You good with that?
Ah, what did you tell me to do? You're my boss.
Don't say that. I got.
Were
other
there,
things you can-
were there any, I know that cell phone policy is one that we're looking at. Was there any other new policies that people wanted to see?
Brought
brought up?
forth quicker. I think the cell phone one needs to be dealt with
You
sooner.
got till August on that one.
Oh, do we?
August, yeah.
You got your temperature, building temperature one.
Well, that one, when's that have to be dealt with by? Last month. So that one should be done sooner
Should
than
add
later.
that to the- Yeah,
Yeah, the temperature,
it's, to be honest, it's more for summer weather. It's more
hot weather
heat in a
than
building
cold,
than
but
is
it
for
it
cold
entails for
building
both,
weather.
right?
It entails.
Cause it's a high temperature and a low temperature.
And John gave us, John found a sample policy, and he, I believe I shared that with you guys, but I didn't, I will.
I think you
I
did.
think so. And he crafted it because originally they came out with pretty cut and dry numbers.
Right.
But then it got kicked back that you could,
Well, those cut and dry numbers were pretty
yeah,
low.
you could loosen it up. So John went through and loosened it up.
Yeah. So yeah, that one I would, we can get done sooner than later. Is there any others that somebody wanted brought to the policy committee for a sooner than later look at? I was thinking you did, but I can't. There's a lot going on in my head right now.
So we'll plan at the next meeting, we're gonna be working on building temperature and cell phone and Title IX.
Like I said, the cell phone,
In Title
you
IX,
can, but
because
it's not, you've got till August on that.
in the Title IX one, because we'll be at that meeting on
Yeah.
December 9th before that
Yep.
policy meeting. So,
Yep.
Yeah, and that's a good one to
so we'll make those ones the priority of
Revisit.
that meeting.
sounds great. Appreciate that. Future board topics. I think we have a couple. Is there anything else? That
Yeah, I
somebody's,
think the one that was raised tonight related to classroom size and what necessitates a split.
I mean, I would be interested to see, average, in geological areas, right? We can't go so much to Portland or, something like that, but just to see what average classroom sizes are in average rural areas.
Like they, yeah. Is that something Dominic can get as far as the data that was mentioned, related to special needs versus like the percentage of special needs in a class size,
As far as what impact.
as far as the
Yeah,
impact.
it's tough to say because the special needs vary from student to
It
student.
does.
And you could have student who has one minor accommodation, they still fall under the special education umbrella.
Right.
It really is, it's population dependent. I mean, other things you gotta take in as long as your class sizes, how big are your physical spaces? Are they big enough for?
So I guess if
These are the all
Dominic's
things you
kind
have
of
to
the
go
expert in that area, maybe just, we could ask him
Yeah.
to find whatever he can.
Yep.
For information on that for our discussion.
Sure. You, if you look hard enough, you'll find information data that will support either side of that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Well, with anything, right? You can get data from both sides.
But I can get numbers for you, I just, like I said, I don't know how much actual valuable information that.
Right.
It is too bad that Dominic's not here tonight. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, so on another, and I guess I could have brought it up during the budget, but future board topic, I think. After speaking with Dominic a few times, maybe bringing in a reading pathologist.
Specialist.
Specialist, thank you.
Thank
you.
Yeah.
The literacy specialist, to the certifiable range, yeah.
Yep. Instead of the way we've been doing it. Because it was kind of addressed that,
You have a math intervention specialist here, you don't currently have a literacy intervention specialist, Jefferson has one of each. They can work well together, there are benefits of having two of those individuals in the building. And I think what Dominic is seeing, he's seeing successes perhaps that have happened over in Jefferson, and he's brought that to Tom.
Mhm.
Into this building, and wondering if those can be replicated here. You'd be looking at your Title I funds probably for utilization. And that is something he will speak to you at before we do your final energy budget.
yeah, and I think he also from discussions had said, some of the special ed, right? There were some that you may lose some of that.
Yes,
Just because some of them are being rolled under that instead of.
when we look at identifying special ed students, the ultimate goal of being in special ed is to not be in special ed and to, work your way out of those things. Either, if it's a literacy specialist working with early readers and writers, or even later ones, with the early population, sometimes you can insert those skills and work on those skills in an effective way. That can really be targeted, but a literacy specialist, someone who is on the cusp, there's a lot of research that goes involved in learning how to read and then maintaining reading levels that are on grade level. The other kind of interesting dynamic in my experience in a small school is that when you bring in a literacy specialist, typically it helps one grade to the next, because when we have one classroom per grade, it's easy to kind of be in that silo and we don't look at that transitional year from one grade to the next. If you're in a larger school, you may have like a team of third grade teachers that you can consult with. And again, when we look at like student reading levels and things like that, they're pretty fluid. Typically, it's not unusual that kids are on grade level. I mean, typically kids are either above or below, and we assess those things. A literacy specialist has, the ability to kind of weave those together, make that instruction worthwhile. So better quality, better kind of vision going forward for our grade levels. Because like I said, again, I mean, being a small school, there are a lot of advantages to that. But when we look at, teachers, their own professional development, and let's say those transitions from one grade level to the next, because typically, like, for example, third grade, they're not all third grade readers. It really helps target those, and it will limit the special education students going forward because they're bumping up, they're, using best practice in the classroom as guided by somebody like that. And our math specialist does that. And our math specialist does take on small group and large groups of kids and actually is in the classroom supporting the teachers and kids. So, yeah.
kind of chime in on what we just said a minute ago.
Yeah.
And I know what you're saying, with Dominic looking at his staffing that he currently has now and saying, well, this person maybe not needed here, this. But just remember that last year you had a different special education director and you had a different building
Right.
administrator as you were drafting your special education budget.
Everything's changed.
Things have changed, the lens at which things have looked to have changed, practices have changed, so I think what was budgeted was necessary
Oh,
at
agreed.
that
Yeah,
particular moment in time.
and the
looking
way
at
we
it
were doing
now,
things.
Looking at it now, perhaps it isn't as necessary, but I think that, just keep that in mind as you're.
I just think if it helps.
Yep.
Out and brings more kids on
Yep.
point,
Yep,
that
yep,
it's.
Yep.
Or it helps them,
it gets them earlier.
yeah,
You know, because like I said, it's that intervention piece, you know, there's a lot to teaching reading and learning how to read. Our teachers are the experts there, but when we talk about intervening struggling readers, when they're learning how to read, there's that time period that they do go into special education. If we push in best practice and we lock it in, they might miss that next step. It reduces our numbers, so. And we'd look to show that in the future if we were to
and do
include that.
you know if. Dominic will be able to be at our next meeting,
Oh, yeah.
do you think he plans on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Anybody else have anything? Okay. Without any objection. This meeting is adjourned.
Was I supposed to present something?
Next time.
I need to the agenda for tonight.
I could say, you're not on the agenda,
I thought I was being.
He's like, I've been here for 2 hours.
And
You just wanted to hang
you
out.
also wanted to talk about the impact of AOS.
so that wouldn't be the place. That would be at the AOS meeting
Because you talked
first.
about the 5 extra days.